Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back to another episode of the DICF series. Today, we have with us for DeKalb Initiative of Children and Families, the board chair, Ms. Sandy G. Johnson. Thank you for being with us, Ms. Johnson. We appreciate you. So I like to give you the opportunity to tell the folks a little bit about yourself and how you landed on the organization.
Well, that's an involved story. We don't have that much time. So, my background, just briefly, I'm a native of Birmingham, Alabama. Spent most of my adult life in the New York, New Jersey area. Chose to make Atlanta my home in 1989. And I have been adopted by DeKalb County since I've been here. And I've been an active member in the community. My work has primarily been either in the nonprofit sector or in the corporate sector in human resources management. On the nonprofit side, I have been engaged with organizations such as Dress for Success Atlanta, Atlanta CASA, and some others as a fund development director. So I was the person helping to raise the money to support the organizations. Have been engaged in other things actively in the DeKalb County community. I was offered an opportunity in 2025 to join the board of directors of the DeKalb Initiative for Children and Families, and here we are.
Well, awesome. We thank you so much for being here. So, with that being said, we know a little bit about you, but we would love to learn more about DICF's origin story, how it came to be.
DICF has been, and DICF is the DeKalb Initiative for Children and Families, but it's so much easier to say DICF. DICF actually started in 1997. They've been around a long time. As a matter of fact, we hit an anniversary mark in 2027 for the organization. Every county in the state of Georgia has the benefit of being supported by an organization such as DICF under the umbrella and with the partnership of the Georgia Family Connections organization. So as a partner in that organization, DICF has been able to focus specifically on children and families in DeKalb County. And that's our mission, that's our purpose. I'm not certain how it came together for DeKalb in 1997 when the corporation was formed. And if there's anybody out there who actually was around during that time, has more of that history, I'd love to hear from them. So it's a great opportunity for us to recapture some of that organizational history, but definitely been around since 1997. I think over time, things have transitioned. I'm not sure what happened during the pandemic. And so we're in a rebuild mode at this point. So the part of the purpose for being able to tell our story and get our message out to people in the community is because of that rebuild.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So that gives us like an overview of where you come from, but how do you define the organization's mission today?
DICF is organized and established with a mission to facilitate collaboration. So it's our job to support the nonprofits and government agencies in our communities and to work with them to support their initiatives, right? So it's not that we are providing a direct service to the community. We are working with the collective body and ensuring that all the right people are included in that collaborative.
Okay, so when you think of all the right people, that's not individuals, right? It is other nonprofit organizations.
Correct.
Is there a certain criteria to become on your radar? Can anyone get supported by DICF in that manner?
Any nonprofit organization functioning in our community can partner with us to assist with their mission. We also include government agencies and organizations. Even though they're not nonprofits, they're providing services to the community. So if we can collaborate with them, it's a public-private partnership. Okay. So it's all about ensuring that we connect people to the right services, that we try and minimize the duplication of services so that, in fact, we make the most out of whatever little we might have.
So I think that's really great. And that makes a lot of sense as to why you would work with the organization versus the individual, especially when you think about impact and reach. So, what are some of the biggest differences and connections that DICF has been able to make?
So I believe that we are making progress on those big connections, um, county youth services, literacy, um, the high schools and the feeder schools associated with those, and lots of other opportunities. Our friends at the Y, so we've got motion going. It's just a question of getting it to a point where it's a well-oiled machine.
Oh, that leads right into my next question.
Okay.
Right, we're becoming a well-oiled machine.
Mhm.
So, what partnerships would you like to build next?
One of the things that I think is imperative for the success of DICF is a clear understanding and a partnership relationship with our municipal um, organizations, whether that's the mayors or the city councils. If memory serves me, DeKalb has 13 incorporated organizations. They should all be aware of and involved with what DICF is bringing to the table. I think we're doing pretty good in terms of our acknowledging and recognizing nonprofits and organizing those by service type, looking at where we are with those other opportunities in the community. But that municipal link is one that I have just, and I put that on me. I simply have not had an opportunity to truly connect, except in conversation with the mayors that I happen to know personally.
I'm going to behoove all of the municipalities that are watching this today, have the opportunity to learn a little bit about DICF. Put your community relations person or team in touch with DICF so that we can connect and continue to forward this organization. Thank you so much for sharing that piece. And again, I make the additional plea to the municipalities. What are some of the biggest challenges that DICF is experiencing today that could make a difference if it were eliminated?
I think it's a great question, and the call to action for the municipalities is a great start, but we are rebuilding our board, so we're looking at community members who are willing to volunteer on the board who bring a a working skill to the table. We're not at the point where we're building a board for individuals who need their resumes boosted. We actually at the point where our board has to work. So volunteers is what that comes down to. Um, we have strategic teams that look at our activities and meet to talk about what it is that we're doing towards our goals and objectives. So those are volunteer opportunities. So it's really about the volunteer opportunities that we look at having a gap.
So, if you were going to think about how many opportunities you have available in each year or each month, how many folks do you need to come and stand in to make this organization move forward and meet the need or that gap or challenge?
Because we're not delivering actual services, the issues that we have are related to organizational structure. So it's not like we can take masses in, all right? But for instance, I'll be looking to add 2 new board members by our February board meeting. I've identified those individuals. The board needs to be diversified. My connections in DeKalb are mostly on the south side. So if there are folks who are interested in participating who are on the north side, and that's another reason that the municipalities become so important in the engagement because they know the members of their community who might be the right fit for this kind of situation. Um, uh, we could use a lawyer on our team. We have a CPA. Um, school teachers, retired or otherwise. You know, so it's those kinds of skill sets, but it's people who are actually engaged in the community that we need to be involved. I think a part of what happened with the transition of the original or ongoing DICF board was that a number of the people who were serving on the board were serving through their jobs, either government positions or otherwise, and they changed jobs and they moved on. So you ended up with loss of individuals over time. So being able to engage people in the community who are residents of the community, who are interested in ensuring that we do all that we can to assist our children and families becomes an important part.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And you've kind of talked us into, you're really good at that, right? Kind of talked us into the next thought here. And that is, we know what you need. So you have the human resources, right? Which is the volunteers. How does that help support the outlook? And what is the outlook for DICF in the next 3, 5, 10 years out?
DICF should be the go-to resource for any nonprofit organization or government agency that's looking to identify other resources in the community. So the 1, 3, 5, 10-year plan is to get DICF back to that point where they are the premier facilitator of collaboration for nonprofit organizations and government agencies in our community. And Family Connections is the technical advisor as our partner in this process for DICF, as they are for all the other counties, agencies in all the other counties throughout the state.
That makes total sense. So with that, you had all the money and all the human resources, right? Because it's easy to donate oftentimes, like, hey, do you want to round up or whatever the case may be? But so you have all the resources that you need, or if you had unlimited resources, what do you think you would do differently tomorrow?
One of the, and this literally just happened this morning, one of the things that gives me joy and pleasure is helping people. That's not our mission, but somebody in Fulton County got a phone call from somebody in DeKalb County who said one of my employees is in trouble and I need to find resources to help him get out of it. This young man is a single father, one child finishing college and one finishing high school. Through a series of things that happened, he's been served with an eviction notice. And was just, I mean, I could hear him not being able to breathe when he called me. So being able to help him get to the right places, he did call me back about 12 o'clock today to say that he was able to talk with an advocate who helped him, and everything's going to work out just fine. But today was day 7 of his notice from the court. And so yeah, so as you shake your head and breathe, I mean, it's just, yes, that's what we should be doing for each other. And so to have that connection, to be able to send them to the right places. Not everybody's going to call me. That's not what it's about, but it's just, that's why we do what we do.
Absolutely.
So if I had all the money in the world, I would literally be looking for us to not only serve as fiscal agents for smaller nonprofits, which we do, but to be able to offer grants and scholarships, to have the funds to be able to manage a grants and scholarship program for the services that are offered by the partners that we have in the community.
I feel like I'm going to ask you a redundant question.
Okay.
And that is, you just told us a heartfelt story, and I'm sure you have several others that are like that, that keep you in the seat,
Right.
right? Keep you involved and engaged. But if you were going to do any additional appeal, that's where the redundancy comes from. For outside of volunteering, outside of donating, what would you want to say to the community today in regards to DIC?
A part of our um, strategic plan for the organization over the past several years has been two specific strategies. One, to focus on improving high school graduation rates for specifically Columbia and Towers High School. And two, to be able to um, engage the community in a way that makes us all a trauma informed community.
Mhm.
On the first strategy, I am happy to say, and I'm not sure we take any credit, but I'm happy to say that Towers High School graduation rate has improved. So
Wonderful.
they have been removed from that needs improvement list by the government. Columbia we're still working with. Towers we're still working with. Um, I think the factor that is missing is engagement of the parents in every aspect of
Mhm.
what goes on in the lives of the children. And if parents aren't able to be truly engaged in that process, let us help.
Mhm.
You can't go to the PTA meeting, we'll go for you. You know, let us find some of the resources that you need in order to make life easier for you as you raise your family,
Mhm.
and in most cases, continue to work one or more jobs.
Mhm.
So it's that engagement on the part of parents. Sometimes I think that between elementary school and middle school, parents feel like children are old enough to kind of be on their own.
Mhm.
They're not.
They're not. Well, as a middle school parent,
Right.
they are not.
Right, exactly. So we just need to be able to figure out ways to keep parents actively engaged
Mhm.
in the process of raising the children in our village, because it
Yes.
does take a village. Most of us have gone off to college and left wherever home was and not returned to home because
Mhm.
we found other places due to work or whatever. So our village has been disrupted, but
Mhm.
the village still exists.
It does.
And so DICF is a part of the group of folks trying to ensure that we pull that village back together. And we're doing it through the services provided by other nonprofits and government agencies.
I love that. I would like to give you guys a tagline, unsolicited. DICF, the new village, right?
Okay, yes.
So, if we were going to keep all of those things in mind that you shared with us today, which we thank you so much for sharing, and we
Mm.
hope that you guys have gained some additional understanding about what DICF provides. If you are a nonprofit and especially a municipality, to please reach out to them in DeKalb County and find your resource if you are listening and you are in another county. But what I would like to know for DICF specifically, what is the legacy you would like it to leave behind
Mhm.
as it continues to move forward, as you move out of your current responsibility? What would you like it to be?
First, let me say that I'm not looking for a lifetime career of board chairing. I'm looking to pass the torch as soon as I can. So, from a legacy standpoint, I want the organization to return to that status of being the go to for nonprofits and government agencies in DeKalb County, to be at the table with any discussions that are going on about funding and resources for nonprofits and other organizations. I think one of the things that Family Connections brings to the table for all of the partners throughout 159 counties is the kids count factor, which is numbers, data that
Mhm.
speaks to all aspects that can be shared. It's open. It's on our. Anybody can access it from our website
Mhm.
or from the website of Family Connection or any other partner. So that legacy, I think, has to be that everybody is aware everybody is taking advantage of the resources, using the data and the information, and collaborating with each other, as well as with the greater community.
You said one key thing that I think we haven't had the opportunity to really drone in on in this conversation. Not that I'm attempting to extend the time with you, even though I adore you, as you know, but the data, which is such a big deal today, especially as we are moving into the world of artificial intelligence. And within schools, there's additional aspects of data to help us. And I would like to ask you if there's some more I guess, data that you can share with us around the data that you provide and how it benefits servicing the organizations that connect with you.
As I mentioned in my brief bio, one of the things that I've done in past lives is served as the fund development person. So grant writing is a part of that process. The data that you have, the more local the data, the more powerful your grant. So funders are looking for that data to do a number of things. The kids count data provided to us through Family Connections is actually a part of a national data capture that's funded by the Annie E. Casey Foundation. For small nonprofits who don't have access to local data, regional data, national data, the more you can hone in as a grant writer on your data that's more specific to your area, the more local it is, the stronger your grant. So the Kids Count data is published and posted on our website, so our partners can go and grab whatever data they need if they want to know about low birth rates, or they want to know about absentee rates or high school graduation rates, whatever the issue of a long list of data points. They have the ability to do that and tell the story of their community in data.
I love that. So I do have an additional question. How current is the data?
Kids Count data is, the current data is 2023. And the pandemic changed all of our lives.
It did.
Post-pandemic data versus pre-pandemic data.
Indeed.
And then you have a gap during the pandemic.
Of course.
So, it is sufficient to be able to paint a picture, and then we have technical resources at Family Connections who can help us hone in even more closely, fine-tune more distinctly if we need to.
Love that.
So that's a part of the service that we can bring to the nonprofit partners that we have in the community.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing and digging into that. Thank you for your service to the community.
Thank you.
Thank you for finding that it matters to volunteer, because I know that this
indeed.
is a volunteer position for you too.
Absolutely.
So we want to honor this and honor the opportunity to share more about DICF and come back to you guys and let you know that if you want to get in contact with DICF, you can find all their information here, as well as in the caption and the show notes on this episode. So we want to say thank you again for tuning in, and stay tuned for more information on other organizations that are connected with DICF. Have a wonderful day.